Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you. I hope you are all well and had a wonderful Shabbos. Today's learning is dedicated in memory of Sosha Bas Yosef Rosen, Arieh Book, Shlomo ben Yitzhak Breland, Israel ben Gedalia Goldblatt, Leah Rabinovich, Meir Cohen Keith, Rachel Regan, which, as well as Leah Bas Feivel, wish all the families long life. Sorry, one name I missed, and that was Liron, Ben Yitzchak. Wish all of them long life. So, today we are going to learn about two ideas relating to Behar, and of course, all the learning that we do is in addition dedicated to the memory of all those that sadly, tragically lost their lives in the disaster in Meron that we are all grappling with, struggling with, and mourning the tremendous loss. And our hearts go out to the families around the world. I think there were 4 more last night that they named as being Americans. So it's something which the Jewish people as a whole are mourning and are mourning the loss. So let's start with an idea that we find in Parsha's Behar. We know that Behar discusses about the laws of the sabbatical, not my sabbatical, but the agricultural sabbatical. Okay, and that's the idea that for 7 years, 6 years, a person would work the fields and then they would rest. They would relinquish control and demonstrate that ultimately the land is not theirs, it belongs to God. And the way it is described in the verses is that we are told that there are 7 years, and then there are 7 lots of 7 years, and then in the 50th year there is the Jubilee, the Yovel year, where the land reverts to its original owner. And the question is, why do we need to know? Just say every 7 years. What's the whole description? It seems quite verbose. And there's a beautiful analogy that I saw that goes as follows: that there was once a man, and a young boy, and he decided to save up all his pennies, right? You know what they say, save the pennies and it takes care of the pounds. So he was saving all his pennies, and he had this huge pile of pennies, and he went to his parents, went to his mother and said, look what I've got. And when she added all of it together, she told him, actually, although it looks like it's a lot of coins, in reality, it's only actually £5. And he was rather crestfallen. Well, that's the idea, in fact, of us measuring in terms of the Shemitah cycle and in terms of the Jubilee cycle. Person comes, at any stage of life, and they sit back and they say to themselves, well, listen, people live to 90. I've got so much time, 365 days in the year, and I'm still relatively in good health. I'm well, so I've got another 10, 20, 30 years. But when you put it into in terms of the sabbatical, when you put it in terms of a jubilee, jubilees every 50 years. One jubilee, have we experienced one jubilee? Or 7 year, every 7 years is a Shemitah year. So how many Shemitah years do we have left in our lives? And therefore, like the child who thought he had loads of, tremendous wealth, and really, when you put it in larger terms, it actually doesn't amount to that much. So it is that we should wake up and really be cognizant of the fact that we don't live forever. And life and time is such a precious commodity. It is the most precious thing that we have. And therefore, one of the lessons to be learned of the Shemitah and the Jubilee is to value our time. Second lesson that we can learn relating to this time of year is something that comes from last week's Torah. Well, it was an idea that I saw in last week's Torah portion, and that is a question that Rabbi Tatz, in an article he addresses, I've heard him mention it many times before, which is the question as to why do we dream? I hope we're all dreamers, okay? We've spoken before about the Ponovitch Arov, who dreamed with his eyes open. But what about us? Do we dream? Yes, every healthy individual, when you're younger, you dream. As you get older, you also dream. The dreams, the subject of the dreams may change, but you dream. And when you have a very intense dream, I don't know if you have had this recently, but I have, and all of a sudden, you may call it a nightmare, but whatever it is, that you wake up in a pool of sweat, it was so real. You were really felt that you were there. Yeah, you know what anyone know what I'm talking about? And it was such an intense experience, and you wake up and it takes you a minute to actually realize that it was a dream. And you have this also with young kids and your grandkids. They come along and they're screaming in the night, mommy, daddy, whoever it is. And then you have to tell them, no, it's okay, it's only a dream, right? One of the questions that many of us have, or many people have, is what's real and what's not real. Sometimes we struggle to make sense, right? And one of the things that we are challenged to do is to make our lives as real as possible. Take marriage, says Rabbi Taz, right? What is the goal of marriage? The goal of marriage, of course, is that union, to come together with one another person, and that there should be this intense bond between two individuals, that they no longer are really two individuals. They become meshed, they become intimately intertwined, so they become like one. We've given analogies before, and a wonderful story of Shlomo Levin that certainly achieved it with his wife, great saintly man before the state of Israel was created, a wonderful caring man who was known for his interpersonal relationships, in particular his marriage. And he went to the doctor and he said, my wife's leg, went with his wife, and went to the doctor, and his wife said, what's wrong with you, to the wife? And Rav Ari Levin, the husband, said, my wife's leg is hurting us. So that is the stage. In other words, the sum is greater than the total parts, and that you're able to bond and understand what dveikus, what cleaving one to another is really about. You become a new entity. And that idea and everything in this world is really all an analogy. In other words, the whole purpose of us going through any of the life experiences that we do is so that we can relate to God. So therefore, marriage, the idea of bonding with another human being, right? Of having a close relationship with somebody else, right? The idea is that we can then transfer, we can relate to our experience to that with God. And that is the whole purpose of all the experiences that we have, right? So therefore, I can now cleave, if I told you directly to cleave to God, or to have to have any type of an intimate relationship with God, you would say, well, how can I do that? It's too abstract. But once you've done it with a human being, then you understand what that experience, what that phenomenon is like, and therefore it is translatable and transferable. So the question is, what about dreams? What's the idea of dreams? What is transferable from a dream to the realm of our relationship with God? Well, one of the ideas is that, if I was to ask you to, many people get confused between what is reality and what is illusory, right? Many people are not sure what is real and what is not real, right? So when we have a dream, right, it's one of the most starkly real experience that you could ever have, right? And it is teaching us that what we are experiencing seems exceptionally real, right? It seems that is the reality. And yet when we wake up, we know that it was illusory. And therefore the dream is meant to show us that we in this world are, it's known as Alma de Shikra, the world of falsehood, right? As opposed to when people pass on, that is the world of truth, right? That's what we refer to it as, the world of the ultimate reality. And therefore we can get caught up in this world believing that this is reality. This is it, right? There is nothing beyond it, okay? But ultimately, the idea is that we should be able to be, through having dreams and then waking up, to realizing that this is transient, like the dream, and therefore eventually we move on from the dream. Same too in life, we move on from this life to the world of truth. And therefore, we should recognize and see this world, like we said in the first analogy, for what it is. We are passing through this world. Dreams have a beginning, a middle, and an end. They're fleeting. And so it is that life itself is very fleeting, right? People spend their lives building castles as homes and acquiring possessions and things. There was a woman in America that I heard about, Rabbi Lev said, it was in Miami, in Florida. Miami in Florida is always a bit more out there, but nonetheless, she insisted she wanted to be buried with her pink Rolls Royce, and in America anything goes, and she was buried. She wanted to take it with her, and she literally did. So the whole idea of dreams and marriage and all the experiences, the life experiences that we have, is for us to be able to then apply that to understanding what is truly important in life, and what is the absolute truth, the absolute reality, which is that we're not here forever, and therefore our relationship with God should be of paramount importance, and investing in that, which is the ultimate truth. Okay, we're going to stop there. We'll continue now with the memorial prayer. Apologize, I don't have all my sheets with me, so we'll do the best we can. Adon Olamim Zachoves Nishmois. Sasha Bas Yosef Rosenheim Ben Aryeh Shmuel Aryeh Book. Shama Ben Yisrof Vreeland, Yisroel Ben Gedalia Goldblatt, Leah Rabinovich, Leah Ben Akain Keith, Rachel Regan, Shalachul Yalamar Bagan Eden Temenuchosam Lachim Balrachamim Yatrin Besaisikana Pabri Olamim. V'yetzot Chaysushosam Adonai Nachlasam. Yanuchu Bishlam Mishkavam. Venamar Amen. Lastly, for Shlema prayer, and we'll have in mind all those that need a refuah Shlema. There are still those that are in hospital, and from the disaster and tragedy, and also even those that are not in hospital. I know of one young man who was actually a relative, and he was crushed. He wasn't physically harmed, but psychologically and mentally, the scarring, could be for months and years to come. The thought of being piled on top of people, that are not alive, or did I get pushed, or did I contribute? It's horrendous. It's horrendous. It is a living nightmare. So we'll have in mind all those that need a refuah shalema, a physical and a mental and psychological and emotional refuah shalema, when we recite this prayer. Misha Berach Avsein Rabbis, Rabbi Yaakov Moshe Aaron, David Shlomo Baruch Rapes Achaylim. Baruch Shani Mispalim, Baruch Rambis V'Sekat Shprochi Malei Rachim Aleichem Lachem Adafosam Mishlach Lem Refuah Shalem Nushmaim Lachol Vim Besos Shach Yisrael Refuah Tzanefesh Refuah Tzagov Hashem Hakadosh Baruch Hu Amar Amen. A reminder that tomorrow is a bank holiday. Being a bank holiday, therefore Shabbos is 8:30, and the program is at 9:30. 9:30 tomorrow morning. I'm just going to put that up. Okay, Monday. That's bank holiday, and we look forward to seeing everyone there. And in the meantime, we wish everyone well, and look after yourselves and have a peaceful and a productive day. Take care.